Hey guys, just wanted to show you this Toro work truck I'm working on. This is a later model HDX Workman. It's pretty similar to the other one you saw in my other videos, just a newer version. It's a little 4-speed, 3-cylinder Kubota gas-powered machine. This one I'm doing a winter service, so basically going through it end to end, greasing, cleaning, servicing, and I was working on the back end here and I found a problem with the rear axle hubs. I don't know if you can see this, but very loose. So I took apart the driver's side down under here to find a bearing flange that sits inside of this frame member, and then this drive shaft. There's two of them. There's one on each side of the transmission. Sorry, if you can see that. There's one right there runs into the transmission. There's another one over there on that side that runs into the transmission. And basically there's a spline shaft that pushes through right here through this guy. Excuse me, right here. This is the back side, so the face that bolts to the frame member, and then on the outside attaches your wheel. So inside of this, I've opened it. There's two rings of bearings, one on the outside, one on the inside. I'm going to take this apart, clean and service these bearings, put it back together. But the reason it's loose, it's actually a different problem. It's not a worn bearing or a worn race, but this spline shaft, I don't know if you can see it, there's a big nut that holds it into the end of the universal joint yoke. And I found that that nut has actually come loose. You can't see it with my hand in the way, but that nut has loosened off, allowing this shaft to slide outwards, and thus loosening the bearings in between. And the only way to tighten this, it's a pain in the butt, but I think is to take this universal joint out and go at this from the end with a socket. But it's probably going to need, and you can see it's loose, you're probably going to need to put some Loctite on there to hold that in, and then put this back together like that and reinstall your bearings. So I'm gonna take this apart and make another quick video, show you how to tighten this up and lock it down. So here it is. I got the yoke out. It actually was pretty easy to get out, and you can see what I was talking about. This spline shaft nut is loose. So what's happened is this nut has backed off, and it's caused the shaft to technically become longer, putting play into the bearings. So what I got to do is figure out how to tighten this nut with some Loctite without having to take apart this U-joint. Reinstall this, put the hub assembly back in, and this nut, and see if the wobble's gone away. If so, then I will take care of the other side. Hey guys, so what I was able to do was, with my hammer and punch here, is put a dimple into the edge of the nut, and what I did is put a bunch of Loctite, this 290 wicking formula. Wicking's nice because it goes around and finds dry spots in the threads and does a complete coat. And then I took my punch right there and I punched that nut secure. So I think now we've got this baby tight. We're just going to let the Loctite set up and put this side back together, see if the wobble's gone. So here's our hub bearing apart. You can see big ball bearings are pretty clean. I'm going to take this apart and clean this up since I have it apart. And that's your mounting flange right there, so that sits down inside. And that's the rear race, the back race. Again, it all looks pretty good shape, so I'm just going to clean it up, re-grease it, put it back together. Hey, so they're all cleaned up now. Wash those bearings out in my solvent tank, clean the races. So what I'm going to do is put some grease in there, reassemble this hub, put it back on the machine. So I got this back together, and as you can see, nice and tight. No play at all. So that hub definitely needed a service. Now unfortunately, this side has the same problem. Showed you in the beginning. All this play. You can see that. So I'm going to take this all apart, do the exact same thing to this side, and then I've got 3 other machines with the same kind of rear end set up on them. I'm going to have to check them, hopefully not have to do the same repair 3 more times. Thanks for watching. Alright, so I figured this was going to happen. This is the hub assembly off the right hand side of the vehicle, so the other side, and as you can see, the bearing race is quite pitted and finished on this side. So I'm going to have to order a part. I can put this back together. It should get us through the season, but it probably should be replaced sooner than later. I mean, it's already buggered. I just don't want to bugger this part because this is a $350 part right there. I'm guessing this is probably a couple $100, but we'll clean her up, put it back together as is, and get a part on order to repair this just slightly down the road.